Hey folks, this is Kalani. There's been a whole bunch of news coming out of BlizzCon from a variety of sources. The live Q&A was fantastic and included a whole bunch of information. The interviews that have been popping up here, there and everywhere with a variety of World of Warcraft developers have been awesome as well. There's a few key pieces of information that I wanted to share with you because I think they're kind of mind-blowing. They relate to Legendaries and titanforging in the next expansion. So let's get down to it. First things first, Legendaries are gone. There are no Legendaries in Battle for Azeroth as of yet. That means the entire Legendary system that was introduced in Legion is just going the way of the dodo. It's gone. Kaput. That leaves me with some pretty mixed feelings. The Legendary system in Legion was a fantastic carrot on a stick. The sheer amount of Legendaries that we could obtain was fascinating at the beginning of Legion, but slowly but surely became a source of frustration when the Legendaries were poorly balanced and you ended up with the not so great ones. It was still a great feeling when those first Legendaries dropped. You had no idea what you were going to get, you had no idea where these Legendaries were going to drop, but when you got your hands on that extremely powerful piece of gear, it was fairly satisfying. Sadly, it didn't hold up all too well. So many discussions have cropped up across the internet about how the Legendary system could be changed to be more fun, more exciting, more interesting, and overall just less frustrating. Anything from balancing the effects, changing the loot slots, limiting what Legendaries can affect, having just utility Legendaries, any number of suggestions. One of those being simply remove Legendaries from the game, and that seems to be the route Blizzard has decided to take. But even though you won't have a multitude of items for any number of your gear slots that need to be changed in and out, that doesn't mean the effects that Legendaries provided won't be in there some way, somehow. It seems as though Legendary effects will be moved into the new Heart of Azeroth artifact system. If you're not sure how this works, basically we farm up Azerite, which is artifact power 2.0, and we use that power to unlock the latent abilities of our gear. The slots we can augment are the helm slot, shoulder slot, and chest slot. Each piece of gear that goes into those specific slots will have 4 tiers of abilities which you can pick and choose from. The inner tiers require more power to unlock, so they're probably the really good ones. We haven't really had a great preview of any of these abilities besides an example where a shaman can pick between faster movement speed in Ghost Wolf after taking damage, or just taking less damage while Astral Shift is active. So we know utility effects are going to be in there somewhere, but a lot of those abilities look like damage spells. I would be very surprised if these abilities were strictly limited to just utility effects. Increasing our damage output is the main focus of DPS players after all. During the live Q&A, when we got confirmation that the Legendary system would not be returning, we were told that the Legendary system effects would be combined with the artifact system, and what they ended up was the Heart of Azeroth. So this artifact probably isn't going to be providing you with the massive fill-in talents we saw so much of in the artifact talent trees, but instead provide those stronger bonuses, the golden traits from your artifact, or the effects of some of our Legendaries. These abilities are really going to matter. Thankfully, the power is always tied to your artifact, the Heart of Azeroth. That means you can swap your helm, shoulders or chest as often as you'd like. You will still have access to the same tiers of unlocks, so you never lose power or progression. The sheer potential of this system makes me really excited. We could end up with so many different choices of abilities which all work together in different ways to empower different abilities or rotations. You also don't have to rely on getting a ridiculously rare or random drop. This stuff is tied to every helm, shoulder and chest that you will loot, so there's no major penalty for getting super unlucky. This sort of leaves Legendary items up in the air though. I wonder if we will see a Legendary item introduced at some point during the story, or if the dev team feels like the artifact alone will feel like a unique powerful item which is always tied to our progression. We could see the return of class-specific Legendaries or quest-focused Legendaries like back in Mists of Pandaria or Warlords of Draenor. I guess there's always the possibility for Legendaries to randomly drop off some late raid bosses as well, like the glaives from Illidan during the Burning Crusade. Taking the Legendary tag off the table leads me to think that they might reuse it one way or another later down the road. So one thing that might come to mind when I tell you that there's so much power locked behind these 3 specific slots is, well, what happens if those slots titanforge? Surely a lucky titanforge is way more powerful on those slots compared to anything else, and I think that everyone would readily agree with you, which is why those slots can't titanforge. There's so much complexity and so much power tied to those slots already that the dev team feel like adding in titanforging would only mess things up. The abilities on your helm, shoulder and chest increase in power dependent on the piece of gear's item level, so item level is incredibly important for these slots. Thankfully, with the ability to titanforge or warforge being removed from those slots if you get a piece of gear which has your absolute ideal ability choices on it, all you need to do is get that item on a higher difficulty. The abilities won't change and you won't be able to farm normal or heroic for a lucky upgrade because you won't be able to titanforge. Only a mythic version of that piece of gear will be an upgrade, and once you get that max item level piece, you can rest assured that you don't have to farm the same content over and over again to try and get that random 5 item level boost. Until new content comes around, of course, then everything is up in the air. Titanforging for any other piece of gear remains unchanged, so the system overall is still in play. Your rings, your boots, your weapons can all have a chance of titanforging, so only those 3 specific slots of helm, shoulders and chest are exempt, but let's be honest, they're the most important slots going forward into the Battle of Azeroth anyway. So, legendaries are gone, while legendary effects may somewhat remain. Titanforging is the same for anything else besides your helm, shoulders and chest, which can't titanforge at all, regardless of how lucky you think you are. And that's it for this video. Are you happy with these changes? Do you think you'll miss legendaries at all? Leave your thoughts and theories in the comment section below. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always, I will see you next time.